What's going on, brothers and sisters? Chris here from Namaste Gaming, and today we're going to be chatting about some of the upcoming Esper and Medic changes. As you guys know, I've been waffling back and forth between Esper and Medic for my choice of main, and honestly, right now it's really even. When I'm on my Esper, I miss the mobility and tankiness of my Medic, and when I'm on my Medic, I miss the burst damage and utility of my Esper. I'm really hoping that after these changes, one of them takes the lead because I'd really like to have a level 50 by the third content drop at least. So here's what's up. For Espers, Spectral Form is going to be castable while moving, which is pretty sweet considering it was a pretty risky ability to use before, and the reward wasn't really commensurate with the risk, to be perfectly honest. Now it's a little less unique, which I know some people are salty about, but it's a lot more useful and will maybe help the class compete in the DPS department just a little bit better. Something really controversial, though, is that they're making Telekinetic Strike castable while moving. A lot of people are acting like this is the nail in the coffin for the class for some reason, that they're going to clearly nerf the damage into the ground or increase the cast time or something, and while we don't know whether or not there are going to be nerfs to accompany it, let's just wait and see how it plays out before assuming that the sky is falling, And for the complaint about it rendering illusionary blades and spectral swarm useless, it's valid, but listen, if the only reason why we would cast those abilities is because we couldn't be rooted to cast TS, they suck and need attention anyway. What a lot of people seem to be missing about the class is that a lot of its abilities are borderline useless and others are pretty much mandatory. Anyone out there not running Bolster? How many builds are rocking Blade Dance? Right? There are some issues here. It looks like Concentrated Blades is at least getting a decent amount of love, with them knocking its spin-up time to 3 seconds instead of 4.4, but Blade Dance getting its channel reduced by a second isn't going to do a whole lot for a class that can do a lot more with those 2 seconds by casting TS. The underused abilities need a look for the sake of build variety, and we've known this from the start, but let's just be real about this. Once these changes are implemented, the class is going to be in the best shape it's been in since launch. Of course, these changes don't fix the class entirely, but don't get it twisted, they're not meant to. Let's be happy about getting a foundation to build off of and not expect Carbine to move mountains in a single patch. On the medic side of things, Gamma Rays is getting a pretty huge buff. Each beam is going to be able to hit 3 targets, up from 1, and the range is going up to 20 meters, up from 17.5. The Tier 4 bonus is going to reduce the cast time by 0.5 seconds per cast, resetting after 3 casts, and the Tier 8 bonus is going to give misses and deflects a chance to build an actuator. I have no idea how this impacts PvE, but from a PvP perspective, this gives me a reason to use something other than Quantum Cascade for once. Prior to this change, the AoE pressure you could put on by chaining Quantum Cascades was way too good to give up for the single target damage of Gamma Rays, but now I'm looking forward to dropping Mask Runners with impunity. Honestly, can't complain about this one at all. Quantum Cascade is getting a bit more area of effect to the second and third ticks, presumably to solidify its position as the pack clearing ability of choice. Should be pretty easy to ensure that even the last tick hits everything you pull now, which was occasionally an issue before, but this really just seems like a fluff change to address the potential objection that the change to Gamma Rays renders QC without a niche. Quantum Cascade, for when you absolutely positively gotta kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitutes. The Reboot Amp, which currently restores some extra shields when you use Shield Surge or Barrier on someone with no shields, is getting boosted up to affect anyone with 30% shield or less. This is a huge change for shield heal builds and certain flavors of hybrid build as well, and while it does make it a little bit face rolly, Shield Surge is a bit of a focus hog and it could honestly use the boost, especially from a Battlegrounds perspective. I of course have no idea how it is in high level PvE content. DualShock and Atomize are also going to be castable while casting, which means I can stop screwing myself over at 2/3 of an actuator because I just need to get that last DualShock out before it expires. Presumably, Atomize users feel the same. This is not coming without a cost though. Mercal has given us a heads up that our AoE healing is a bit overtuned and needs some nerfing in very specific ways. Presumably mending probe explosions are what's going to get hit here, and we're also going to be the first ones to see the duration nerf to our interrupt armor granting capabilities. Even though I'm most likely going to end up going support on my medic at 50, I feel like these changes put the class in a better position overall. Pure healers are taking a bit of a nerf, but shield healers, hybrids, and DPS medics of all flavors are getting buffed, and as with the Espers, we have no idea where it goes from here, so complaining is a bit early at this point. The bigger point, in my opinion, to take away from these balance changes is that the devs really are listening. While a lot of the changes we've talked about in this video are controversial, they're also some of the most highly requested changes for these classes. Whether that ends up being a good or bad thing for the game's long-term health is still obviously up in the air, but you've gotta give them props for staying true to their word. As far as the rest of the classes, I don't have the experience with them to comment on their updates, but I do plan on leveling every class up eventually, so count on the discussion to expand beyond Esper and Medic in the future. I'm really curious as to what changes you guys are excited about for your class and why, so let's get some discussion going in the comments, old school style. That's all for this one, folks. If you enjoyed it, may I ask you to kindly crook your finger in the direction of the like button? And if you're new around here, go ahead and subscribe to make sure you don't miss anything. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter if you haven't already, and if you want to join up with the Namaste Gaming Guild Dominion side on Avatus, drop me a message in-game and we'll get you guilded up. Contact info is in the description below as always. Much love to each and every one of you beautiful savages. Stay black.